It's strange, isn't it, how everything can feel so still yet so heavy at the same time. Like life hasn't stopped, but it's not moving forward either, just suspended. You wake up, you go through the motions, but something inside you quietly keeps asking, why is nothing happening right now? And the truth is, something is happening, just not in the way you're used to seeing. This kind of delay, it doesn't come with noise, it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't give you visible progress or quick reassurance. It feels like being left in the middle of a sentence with no ending in sight. But this pause, it's not empty. There are moments in life where movement would actually break what's being built, where rushing forward would ruin the alignment that's quietly taking place beneath the surface. You're not being held back. You're being held in place for a reason that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Think about it. How many times did things fall apart just because they came too early? Because you weren't ready, or the timing didn't support what you were trying to grow? Now imagine something being prepared for you that won't fall apart this time. Something that requires a different version of you, a steadier you, a quieter, more grounded you. And that version of you is being formed right now, in this stillness. That's why everything feels slower. Why certain doors remain closed. Why answers don't come as quickly as they used to. It's not rejection. It's protection from something incomplete. This delay is doing invisible work, realigning things you can't yet see, removing what doesn't belong, softening what was too rigid inside you. Even your patience, it's being stretched, not to frustrate you, but to expand your capacity for what's coming. Because what's being prepared isn't small, and small timing can't hold something that's meant to last. So instead of signs and quick confirmations, you're given silence. And silence, it has a purpose too. It teaches you how to sit with yourself without needing constant proof. It pulls your attention inward, away from chasing, away from forcing. If this quiet waiting has been sitting in your heart, maybe it's guiding you somewhere deeper than you expected. Leave Amen in the comments below if it resonates. You can gently subscribe to Born into Light and like this video to stay connected. It gently asks you to trust without seeing everything. That's the hardest part, isn't it? Not knowing when things will shift, not having a clear timeline, just feeling that something is unfinished. But unfinished doesn't mean forgotten. There are pieces moving into place that you haven't met yet. Conversations that haven't happened, opportunities that aren't ready to meet you yet, and if they arrive too soon, you might not even recognize them for what they are. So this pause, it's not wasting your time. It's preparing you to receive something in its right form. You may not feel it every day. Some days it just feels frustrating, quiet, even confusing. But even in those moments, something is being adjusted, gently, precisely, without urgency. Not everything meaningful happens in motion. Some of the most important shifts happen when everything seems still. And maybe that's where you are right now. Not stuck, not lost, just in the middle of something that hasn't revealed its shape yet. And what makes this space so uncomfortable is that it asks you to exist without clarity, to keep showing up without the usual signs that tell you you're on the right path, to continue trusting something you cannot measure, cannot predict, and cannot speed up no matter how much effort you pour into it. It quietly removes your sense of control, not to weaken you, but to loosen your grip on outcomes that were never fully yours to manage in the first place. Because if everything unfolded exactly when you demanded it, you would never experience the depth of alignment that only comes through waiting, through uncertainty, through the slow reshaping of your inner world. Right now, something is being rearranged within you that is more important than anything happening around you, and that inner shift cannot be rushed or forced into completion just because you're tired of standing still. There are patterns being softened, expectations being redefined, attachments being gently loosened without you even realizing it. And all of this is creating space for something that requires a different kind of readiness, not just excitement or desire, but stability, awareness, and a quieter kind of strength. And that kind of strength doesn't come from movement, it comes from stillness. It comes from sitting in moments when nothing is happening and choosing not to collapse into doubt, choosing not to run back to what feels familiar just to escape the discomfort of waiting. Because the truth is, the delay is revealing things to you in subtle ways, through your thoughts, your reactions, your emotions, showing you what still needs attention, what still needs healing, what still needs to be understood before you step into what's next. You might notice how certain triggers feel louder now, how certain memories resurface without warning, how your patience is tested in ways that feel almost intentional. And maybe it is, not as punishment, but as preparation. Because what you're being prepared for cannot be held by the same version of you that existed before this pause began. Something in you is being refined, not erased, not broken down completely, but carefully adjusted, like edges being smoothed so that what's coming can fit into your life without resistance or imbalance. And while it may feel like nothing is changing, if you look closely, you might begin to see how differently you respond now compared to before, how certain things no longer affect you in the same way, how your need to control every outcome has softened, even if just slightly. That is movement. Quiet movement, internal movement, the kind that doesn't announce itself but changes everything over time. And maybe part of the discomfort comes from comparing this phase to moments in your life where everything felt fast, exciting, full of visible progress, where each step gave you confirmation that you were moving forward. But not every season is meant to feel like that. Some seasons are meant to feel like this, slow, unclear, almost invisible, because they are not about external results. They are about internal alignment. And alignment doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need immediate proof to be real. It just needs time. Time to settle, time to unfold, time to become something that is stable enough to last beyond a moment of excitement. You're not being asked to do more right now. You're being asked to become more aware, more present, more accepting of where you are without constantly trying to escape it. And that can feel like the hardest task of all, because it goes against everything you've been taught about progress, about success, about always moving forward. But sometimes moving forward looks like staying exactly where you are until something within you finally feels ready, not rushed, not pressured, just ready in a way that feels quiet and certain. And that readiness doesn't shout. It doesn't come with a dramatic shift or a sudden realization. It arrives gently, almost unnoticed at first, like a calm knowing that settles into your chest without needing explanation. One day, you'll look back at this phase and realize that it wasn't empty at all, that it was full of small, almost invisible changes that slowly shaped you into someone who could hold what was once out of reach. You'll see how the delay protected you from paths that weren't meant to last, how it redirected you without force, how it gave you time to grow into something that couldn't have happened in a state of constant motion. And the things that felt like obstacles, like pauses, like frustrating interruptions, will begin to make sense in a way that feels almost precise, almost intentional. But right now you're in the middle of it, and the middle never feels clear. It feels uncertain, unfinished, sometimes even unfair. And it's okay to feel that. It's okay to question it, to feel the weight of it, to wish things were moving faster. None of that takes away from what is being prepared. Because preparation doesn't require perfect belief. It doesn't demand that you feel peaceful every moment. It simply continues, quietly, steadily, whether you understand it or not. Even on the days where you feel disconnected, where you wonder if anything is really happening, where you question if you've been forgotten or left behind, something is still moving beneath the surface, adjusting, aligning, preparing. Not loudly, not urgently, but with a kind of patience that doesn't rush just because you're ready for answers. And maybe that's where trust begins to change, not as something that depends on visible proof, but as something that exists even in the absence of it. A quieter trust, one that doesn't need constant reassurance, one that can sit in the unknown without immediately trying to fill it with fear or doubt. And that kind of trust, it changes how you experience everything. It softens the waiting. It eases the pressure. It allows you to exist in this moment without feeling like you're missing something. Because you're not missing it. You're in it. in the exact place where things are still forming, still being shaped, still finding their way to you in the right way at the right time. And even if you can't see it yet, even if nothing around you looks different, this pause is not holding you back. It's holding something together until it's ready to arrive in a way that doesn't fall apart the moment you touch it. And maybe that's why this waiting feels so different from anything you've experienced before. Because it's not just about something external taking time, it's about something deeper, being stabilized in a way that ensures it won't slip away once it finally reaches you. There's a kind of care in this delay that you might not recognize at first, because it doesn't feel comforting on the surface. It feels uncertain, sometimes even heavy, like you're carrying questions that don't have clear answers yet. But not every kind of care feels gentle in the moment. Some of it feels like being slowed down when you're ready to move, like being redirected when you're sure of your direction, like being asked to wait when everything inside you wants to go. And yet within that resistance, something important is happening. You're being introduced to a version of yourself that doesn't rely on immediate outcomes to feel secure, a version that can exist without constant validation, without needing everything to make sense right away. That shift alone changes everything, even if you don't fully see it yet. Because when you stop depending on quick results to feel aligned, you begin to notice the quieter signals, the subtle shifts, the internal changes that actually hold more meaning than anything external ever could. You start to feel the difference between forcing something and allowing it, between chasing and receiving, between reacting out of urgency and responding from a place of calm awareness. And that awareness, it doesn't come from moments of speed or certainty. It comes from pauses like this, from spaces where you are gently pulled away from distractions and brought back to yourself. There is something very intentional about the way everything has slowed down around you, even if it feels inconvenient, even if it doesn't match the pace you thought you would be moving at by now. Because sometimes the life you imagine needs to be quietly adjusted before it can truly fit who you are becoming. Not taken away, not denied, just reshaped in ways you couldn't have anticipated when you first started moving toward it. And that reshaping requires space. Space to release what no longer aligns, space to see things from a clearer perspective, space to grow into something that feels more stable, more real, more lasting. Without that space, things might come together quickly, but they wouldn't hold. They would carry the same patterns, the same limitations, the same underlying instability that would eventually bring you back to this same kind of pause, only later, only after more time has passed. So, instead of delaying you unnecessarily, this moment is actually preventing a future where things would have needed to be undone. It's allowing everything to settle now, so it doesn't have to fall apart later. And even though that might not make the waiting feel easier, it gives it a kind of meaning that goes beyond frustration, because this isn't time being wasted. It's time being used in a way that isn't immediately visible. And there's a difference between something not happening and something happening out of sight. You are in the second kind. Even now, there are things aligning that you haven't noticed yet. Small details falling into place, connections forming, circumstances shifting in ways that will only make sense once they fully come together. And part of this experience is learning to trust that unseen movement without needing to track every step of it. To understand that not everything valuable will be obvious while it's still in progress. Some things only reveal their purpose once they are complete, and until then they remain quiet, almost hidden, not because they aren't real, but because they are still becoming, just like you are. There is a version of you that exists beyond this pause, one that will look back at this moment with a kind of clarity you don't have right now, one that will understand why certain things didn't happen when you expected them to, why certain paths didn't open, why certain plans had to be set aside. And that version of you won't feel the same urgency you feel now, because it will have already received what this moment is preparing you for. But right now, you're still in the becoming. Still in the part where things feel incomplete, where understanding feels just out of reach, where patience feels like something you're constantly being asked to stretch. And even in that, there is growth happening. Not the kind that announces itself loudly, not the kind that comes with immediate results, but the kind that builds slowly, quietly, in ways that last. You're learning how to stay present without needing to rush into the future, how to sit with uncertainty without letting it define your sense of direction, how to remain open without forcing outcomes into place. Those are not small things. They are the foundation for everything that comes next. Because what is being prepared for you isn't just about what you will receive. It's about who you will be when you receive it. And if that version of you isn't fully formed yet, then the timing won't align, no matter how ready you feel on the surface. So this pause continues, not to hold you back, but to allow everything, including you, to reach a point where nothing feels forced, nothing feels premature, nothing feels unstable. A point where things come together naturally, without resistance, without confusion, without the sense that something is missing. And when that moment arrives, it won't feel rushed or chaotic. It will feel steady, clear, almost surprisingly simple, because everything that needed time will have already taken it. Everything that needed adjustment will have already shifted. Everything that needed to fall away will no longer be in your way. And you won't have to question it the way you're questioning things now. You won't have to wonder if it's right. You'll feel it in a way that doesn't require explanation. But until then, this space remains. Not as a punishment, not as a sign that you're off track, but as a necessary part of something that is still unfolding. And even though it asks a lot from you, your patience, your trust, your ability to remain present without clear answers, it is not asking for those things without purpose. It is shaping you in ways that will make sense later, even if they feel unclear now. And somewhere within all of this stillness, something is quietly reaching its final form, waiting for the exact moment where everything aligns without force, without doubt, without anything needing to be rushed into place. And when you begin to sit with that idea a little longer, without immediately pushing against it, without trying to solve it or speed it up, you might notice something subtle shifting inside you. Not a dramatic change, not a sudden wave of clarity, but a quiet softening of the tension that has been building from constantly asking when and why. Because those questions, as natural as they are, have been keeping your attention fixed on what hasn't arrived yet, pulling you slightly away the form, one that wouldn't make a threat. And the more you stay with this moment without trying to escape it, the more you begin to realize that this pause is not just about waiting for something external to come together, it's also about allowing something internal to settle into its right place. There is a kind of internal noise that starts to quiet down when life slows you like this. The constant urge to compare your timeline to others, the pressure to always be progressing in visible ways, the subtle fear that if things are not moving, then something must be wrong. That noise doesn't disappear instantly, but it begins to lose its hold on you when you stop feeding it with urgency. And in its place, something quieter begins to emerge, a different kind of awareness. One that doesn't need everything to be resolved to feel grounded. One that can exist in the middle of uncertainty without immediately labeling it as failure or delay in the negative sense. And that awareness changes how you experience this entire phase. Because instead of feeling like you are stuck, you begin to see that you are being positioned. Positioned in ways that are not always visible, not always logical, but deeply intentional. There are moments where life pulls you back not to deny you progress, but to adjust your direction slightly, to make sure that where you are heading actually aligns with who you are becoming, not just who you used to be. And those adjustments often happen quietly, without clear explanations, without immediate confirmation. You might feel them as a loss of interest in things that once excited you, or a growing discomfort in situations that used to feel normal, or even a sense of distance from paths you once thought were certain. Those feelings are not random. They are part of the refinement, part of the process that gently redirects you without forcing you, that allows you to outgrow what no longer fits, instead of abruptly taking it away. And that kind of transition requires time, because it's not just about changing circumstances, it's about changing your relationship with those circumstances. You're not just being moved somewhere new, you're becoming someone who naturally belongs there. And belonging cannot be rushed. It develops slowly, through understanding, through experience, through moments like this where everything feels paused but something deeper is being recalibrated. You might not have clear language for what's changing inside you, and that's okay. Not everything needs to be defined to be real. Some shifts are felt long before they are understood. And right now, you are in the middle of one of those shifts. One that is preparing you not just to receive something different, but to experience it differently, without the same fears, without the same patterns that may have shaped your past experiences. Because if those patterns remained unchanged, even the right things could begin to feel unstable over time. So instead of allowing that to happen, this pause is giving you space to see those patterns more clearly, to gently loosen their hold on you, to respond differently when they surface. And that kind of change, even when it feels slow, is what creates lasting alignment. It's what allows something new to enter your life without being filtered through old expectations or fears. And as this continues, you may notice that your relationship with time itself begins to shift. It no longer feels like something you're constantly racing against, something you're trying to catch up to or stay ahead of. Instead, it starts to feel more like something you are moving with, even when the movement is not obvious, even when the pace is slower than you would prefer, because you begin to trust that this pace has a purpose, that it is not random or careless, but carefully set in a way that supports what is being prepared. And that trust doesn't mean you suddenly feel peaceful all the time. There will still be moments where impatience rises, where doubt quietly returns, where you wonder if things will ever shift in the way you hope. But those moments don't hold the same weight anymore. They pass through you instead of defining you. They become part of the experience, not the center of it. And that is another sign that something is changing within you. You're no longer being pulled as strongly by every uncertain thought or feeling. You're learning how to stay steady, even when clarity is not immediate. And that steadiness, it's something you'll carry forward long after this pause has ended. Because what you're building right now isn't just for this moment. It's something that will support you in every moment that follows. Every decision, every opportunity, every relationship that enters your life will be influenced by the version of you that is being shaped here. And that is why this time matters, even if it doesn't feel significant on the surface. Even if it feels quiet, uneventful, even frustrating at times. There is a depth to this experience that goes beyond what you can currently see. And one day, when things begin to move again, when the clarity you've been waiting for starts to reveal itself, you'll recognize how necessary this stillness was. Not as an obstacle, but as a foundation. Not as something that delayed your life, but as something that prepared it in a way that allowed everything to come together with more ease, more stability, more meaning. And until that moment arrives, this space continues to hold you in a way that might not always feel comfortable, but is deeply intentional. A space where you are not being forgotten, not being overlooked, not being left behind, but quietly, steadily, being brought into alignment with something that is taking its time, because it's meant to stay. And things that are meant to stay rarely arrive in a rush. They don't force their way into your life with urgency or confusion. They come with a kind of steadiness that feels unfamiliar at first, almost too calm compared to what you've been used to, because you've been conditioned to associate movement with progress and intensity with meaning. But what is being prepared for you carries a different energy, one that doesn't need to prove itself immediately, one that doesn't create chaos just to feel significant, one that settles into your life in a way that feels natural, grounded and quietly certain. And the reason it can arrive like that is because of everything that is happening right now, in this space that feels like nothing but is actually holding so much. You are being slowly detached from the need for things to happen quickly in order to feel real. And that detachment is creating room for something deeper to take root. Because when something arrives too fast, without that inner grounding, it often feels exciting at first, but unstable over time, like it requires constant effort to maintain, constant reassurance to believe in, constant attention to keep it from slipping away. But what is being formed for you is not meant to feel like that. It's not meant to require you to hold it together with effort or fear. It's meant to exist in your life without making you feel like you could lose it at any moment. And that kind of stability doesn't come from chance. It comes from preparation, from timing that allows every part of it to align properly, including you. Because even if something is right for you, if it meets you at the wrong moment, it can feel confusing, overwhelming, or even difficult to receive fully. So, instead of allowing that to happen, this delay is ensuring that when things finally connect, they do so in a way that feels clear, balanced, and sustainable. And that clarity, it's something you're already beginning to develop, even if you don't fully recognize it yet. You're starting to see things differently, to question things you once accepted without thought, to feel drawn toward what is genuine rather than what is simply familiar. That shift might feel subtle, almost unnoticeable on a day-to-day level, but over time it changes everything about how you move through your life. Because you're no longer operating from the same place you were before this pause began. Something in you has become more aware, more intentional, more aligned with what truly matters, and that alignment is what will allow you to recognize what is meant for you when it finally appears, without confusion, without second-guessing, without needing endless signs to confirm it. You will feel it in a way that is quiet but certain, steady but undeniable, and that feeling will not come from nowhere. It will come from this time, from these moments where you are asked to slow down, to reflect, to sit with yourself in ways that may have felt uncomfortable but were deeply necessary. Because in the absence of constant movement, you begin to hear yourself more clearly. Not the surface-level thoughts that come and go, but the deeper knowing that exists beneath them. The part of you that has always understood more than you gave it credit for, the part that doesn't rely on external validation to recognize what feels right. That part of you becomes stronger in stillness. It becomes clearer, more accessible, more trustworthy. And once you reconnect with that inner clarity, you no longer feel the same urgency to chase answers outside of yourself. You begin to move differently, not out of impatience, but out of understanding. And that shift alone changes the way everything unfolds, because you're no longer reacting to life in the same way. You're responding with awareness, with intention, with a sense of timing that feels more aligned than forced. And when you move like that, things begin to meet you differently. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're no longer moving from the same place of urgency or lack. You're moving from a place that is more grounded, more present, more open to receiving without forcing. And that openness, it's what allows what has been prepared for you to finally reach you without resistance. Because there is nothing in you trying to rush it anymore, nothing trying to control how it arrives, nothing trying to shape it into something it's not. You're able to meet it as it is, fully, without distortion. And that kind of meeting between you and what is meant for you only happens when both are ready. Not just one, not partially, but completely. So this time, as quiet and uncertain as it may feel, is bringing both sides into that readiness. It's aligning not just your path, but your perception of that path. It's clearing not just obstacles around you, but also the subtle patterns within you that might have once made things feel more complicated than they needed to be. And as that continues, you may find that your sense of urgency keeps fading, not because you've given up, but because you started to understand something deeper, that what is truly meant for you does not require constant pursuit. It requires presence. It requires openness. It requires a kind of trust that allows things to unfold without interference. And that trust is being built here, in this space where you are learning to exist without immediate answers, without visible progress, without the reassurance you once depended on. It's not an easy kind of trust. It's quiet, sometimes fragile, sometimes tested. But it's real. And it grows stronger each time you choose not to rush, not to force, not to assume that nothing is happening just because you cannot see it. Because something is happening. It has been happening all along. In the way you've changed, in the way you've slowed down, in the way you've begun to see things with more clarity and less fear. And as all of that continues to settle into place, the moment you've been waiting for begins to come closer. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but naturally, as a continuation of everything that has been unfolding beneath the surface. And when it finally arrives, it won't feel like something that interrupted your life. It will feel like something that fits into it perfectly, as if it had always been on its way, as if this pause was never empty at all, just quietly preparing the exact space where it could finally belong. And as that realization begins to settle more deeply within you, something shifts in the way you hold this moment. Not as something to endure, but as something to move through with a quieter kind of acceptance, a softer awareness that not everything meaningful needs to feel active to be real. You start to notice how even this stillness has its own rhythm, its own subtle movement, its own way of guiding you without pushing, without overwhelming you with signs or directions, just gently keeping you where you need to be until everything aligns in a way that doesn't require effort to maintain. And in that space, the pressure slowly begins to lift. Not all at once, not completely, but enough for you to breathe a little differently, to feel a little less urgency in your chest, to allow things to be incomplete without immediately trying to fix them. Because you begin to understand that incompleteness is not failure, it's a phase, a necessary part of something that is still forming. And just like anything that takes time to come together, it cannot be rushed without losing something essential in the process. So instead of trying to push through this moment, you begin to stand within it more fully, not because it's easy, but because you're starting to trust that it has a purpose beyond what you can currently see. And that trust, it doesn't make everything clear, but it makes everything feel a little less heavy. It gives you the ability to move through your days without constantly feeling like you're falling behind, without measuring your life against timelines that were never meant to define you. You begin to realize that your path is not delayed, it's unfolding at its own pace, in its own way, with a kind of precision that doesn't always make sense in the moment, but reveals itself over time. And the more you allow that to be true, the less resistance you feel toward where you are. You stop asking life to hurry up and instead, you start listening more closely to what this moment is quietly offering you. The lessons become clearer, not as loud realizations, but as gentle understandings that settle into your awareness without needing to be forced. You see how much you've already grown, even in ways you didn't notice at first. How your reactions have softened, how your perspective has widened, how your need for control has loosened just enough to allow something new to take shape. And in that recognition, there is a quiet sense of reassurance. Not the kind that promises immediate change, but the kind that reminds you that you are not standing still in the way you once thought you were. You are moving, just not in a way that is visible to everyone, sometimes not even fully visible to yourself. And that's okay, because not everything meaningful needs to be seen while it's happening. Some things are meant to be understood only after they've already done their work. And maybe that's where you are now, in the middle of something that will make perfect sense later, even if it feels uncertain now. A moment that is shaping you in ways you'll only recognize once you've moved beyond it. A pause that is not empty, but quietly full of everything you need to become ready, to become aligned, to become steady enough to receive what is meant for you without fear of losing it. And as you continue to move through this space, slowly, quietly, in your own time, you may begin to feel a kind of calm that wasn't there before. Not constant, not perfect, but present enough to remind you that you are not lost. That nothing about this moment is accidental. That even in the silence, even in the waiting, something is unfolding exactly as it needs to. And you are a part of that unfolding. Not separate from it, not forgotten within it, but deeply connected to every quiet shift, every unseen adjustment, every small change that is bringing things closer to their right time. So this moment doesn't need to be rushed. It doesn't need to be solved. It just needs to be lived, gently, patiently, with the understanding that what is being prepared for you is not being held away. It's being brought together, piece by piece, in a way that will finally feel right when it arrives. And maybe this moment isn't holding you back, it's holding something together for you. If this message felt like it found you at the right time, you can gently subscribe to Born into Light and like this video to stay connected with this space.